"Let's avoid going through the house," he said, pointing toward the front door. "We can walk around from here, provided the snow isn't too deep." Scotty and Leroy followed Sinclair McCabe as he stumbled through the snow and made his way around the side of the house to the partially cleared parking area. Sinclair put on his overcoat, but apparently had forgotten to change shoes. His wingtips were not handling the 6-inch snow very well. They quickly made the short walk across the parking area, and then continued up the short driveway that serviced the guest house. Sitting alone in the parking area and partially covered with snow was a 1963 Mercedes, which Leroy assumed must belong to Turner Clark. Looking at the car, Leroy wondered why Turner had not driven his car up the short guest house driveway, rather than leaving it near the main house. Sinclair reached the door first, and rang the doorbell before knocking on a pane in the frost-covered French door that served as the entrance to the McCabe guest house. There was no response from inside. The door contained a regular door handle and lock, plus a keyed deadbolt, which required turning the latch from the inside or using the master key that Sinclair had retrieved from the kitchen storage area. Unlocking both locks, the three of them stepped through the door and directly into a small living area. The guest house was quite small when compared to the main residence, but adequately furnished. Standing in the living area, Leroy could see a small kitchen located at the back of the room and a door that led off to the left, assuming to the bedroom and bath areas. Sinclair called out Turner's name, just to assure himself that no one was there and wouldn't be surprised by the intrusion. There was no response. Scotty was first across the living area and pushed on the partially open door that led to the other part of the guest house. He stopped at the doorway and said nothing. Lying face down and diagonally across the queen-size bed was a man with his upper body on the bed and his feet touching the floor. He was fully dressed. His arms were outstretched, and it appeared that he might just be taking an uncomfortable nap, except that there was a small red hole in the back of his head, just above the neckline, and the bed, floor, and far wall were completely covered with dried blood. This was the body of Turner Clark, and from first examination it appeared that he had been shot in the back of the head. Judging from the blood, hair, brain, and tissue matter that was deposited on the far wall, Turner was standing when shot and fell across the bed where they now found him. "Don't touch anything," Leroy yelled. "Sinclair, is this Turner Clark?" I don't know," he stuttered. "But looking at him from here, I believe it is Turner." "Oh, Lord," he said, turning away. Leroy backed out of the room, pushing Scotty and Sinclair in front of him before closing the door. "Scotty," Leroy said, while they stood in the living area looking at each other, "go get on the radio and notify Dr. Barker, the coroner, and the crime scene investigators in Jackson. We have a homicide, and I want all the right things in place until we discover what happened to Mr. Turner Clark."